privilege of the floor. Would anyone like to enjoy the privilege of the floor? Okay, we will move ahead to approving minutes.
And we got this.
All right.
We haven't yet.
More minutes.
And thank you, Sharon, for taking care of
Yes,
Yeah,
doing the
no,
first one there.
yep, no worries.
What was this, August?
this is August 14th.
14th.
That one, Rich, you submitted some minor changes to?
Yeah, and
And are those
Sharon.
incorporated
Yeah.
by you, Sharon, into this?
There was only one thing under line 203, 204,
Yeah.
and it was to insert additional sentence.
I had
which-
thought, but I could be simply misremembering, because I know at the planning board, Mark, you had stated that you'd get together with Craig and
Yeah.
Public Safety and Public Works and check it out. I thought you said the same thing.
I did.
Yeah, and that was just missing from the write-up. So I just a sentence that said, and then it flows naturally to the next minutes where you guys
We
present
did.
what the,
Yeah.
what you did when you got together.
Okay.
So that's all that was, just add a sentence.
Okay.
Okay.
I had a couple little grammar things in there. Right. Line 18, and I don't know, I could be shot down for having this grammar rule wrong. Should that be effect instead of affect?
Affect.
It should be affect instead of
Leave
effect.
effect. Effect is a noun.
Okay,
Affect.
anyone else want to get involved with
We can take a vote on
No,
it.
that? No, all right.
exactly.
Then the other one, line 21, reading this, Mark answered that the town website is the best place to find out information and changes to the hours we're posted. So either a paragraph,
Or
Find
comment
out
before
information, period, scratch the and say changes to the hours
we're
we're
posted,
posted.
okay, yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Fine with that. And then I only had another one on line 142. Revenue on the pond front facilities.
Front facility.
Oh, waterfront, it should be.
Waterfront?
Yeah.
I'm fine with everything else. How about everybody else?
Good.
Okay.
I will make the motion to approve the August 14th minutes as amended. Is there a second?
So, second.
All in favor?
Um,
All right, we'll move to the August 30th.
I abstained because I wasn't there for August 14th.
Okay. All right, I didn't have anything on the 30th. It looked pretty good to me.
Yeah, I just had one on line 77. I think there's just an extra word. The first session, this is 76, through the end of December will run as planned. Yeah, I think you just have to read the width.
Yeah.
Other than that,
Okay, I will make the motion to approve the amended August 30th meeting minutes. Is there a second?
I guess I'll second again.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, let's move to September 11th. I don't have anything on September 11th here.
I just had one again.
And okay,
Line 34. It actually begins, the sentence begins on 33. Joan added that the ASP is the only program exclusive to WV residents. Remove that only after residents,
Mhm.
while all other programs are geared to. That's it.
okay. I will make the motion to approve the minutes of September 11th as amended. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. So moved. All right, September 17th workshop meeting.
Anyone got anything for 27?
Nope, shoot.
I think it changed with to what to how. Line 27, the plan is a roadmap for how WVR hopes to develop the resort. Instead of what.
I can go with that. Margaret?
And
30.
then line 29, T. Smith started to go through the document and take out the width, addressing the goals of the document.
34, the comma should be a semicolon. Semicolon. After
Industry.
Don't look at me, I got affect and effect.
35, it should, instead of catalyst being, beginning of a sentence, a catalyst will be, catalyst will be. Thirty-seven, the sentence that begins T. Smith made to note to speak about. How about T. Smith spoke about awareness of the age facilities, and then the second part of it needs to be fixed as too. And the need to address
The need to address.
them, the aging facilities. I guess. 41, T. Smith took focus to the Nordic system, then focused on, perhaps, or spoke on, whatever. And then the next sentence needs to be made into a sentence.
Mhm.
So T. Smith spoke about the Nordic system in the town and the need, creating snow down, or snow, you don't think you need down, snow near town square and at other parts of the Nordic system.
Mm-hmm.
The two numbers in 44 and 45, the question will be asked, what are they referring to?
Skier days.
Skier days.
Mhm.
That should be.
Yeah, skiers. Skiers per day.
Skiers, they're around 4,700 skiers per day, but hope to expand to the 6,000 mark. You can probably keep that. That's all.
Everybody okay with that? All right, I will once again make a motion to approve the minutes as amended. For a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Here's the financial report.
Yeah, we're doing very well. We are right on target with 73% through the year, 72% spent without capital outlays. And we're 65, almost 65.5% collected on our anticipated revenues. And that does not include our third quarter billing, which will be going out within the next couple of weeks. So,
Okay, questions?
Yep.
I have one.
Mhm.
This transfer station fees.
Yeah.
Being up what is that a result of?
it's a result of having the control
I
person
just
up there.
want that
Yeah,
on the record and I want, you
Yep.
know, to
absolutely.
see. And are we anticipating that to continue?
We are,
Are we through our busiest construction season? Do we go into a lull now or is there a big push before the snow?
There will probably be a big push before the snow, and then it will probably level out. And it all depends on who's renovating and
Yeah.
what the activity is with the condos and houses and everything else in town.
expect
We're getting a
the
lot of building permits.
Yeah.
So
winter.
Are these from new owners or are we seeing a lot of people putting money into the units as they're buying them or
It's
any way to tell?
it's basically general maintenance and not renovations, but just kitchen cabinets.
Yeah.
Upgrading or replacing. Not even upgrading, just
But are we seeing it from people who just bought the units or is this people who've been here for a while?
it's a mix. It's a mix. 50-50.
And I would expect for the fall that people getting ready for the winter season will be doing the same things to their units. And
If you
that's
can find
probably
someone
what
to do it.
goes. Yeah, if you can.
No, there's no
Absolutely,
place
that's a
around.
problem. But Jim and I have talked about this, this is something that we have not been capturing. I mean, I think the work has been being done in past years. We just weren't
Right.
getting paid for the material that was
Well,
being
now we're having
dumped.
to see if these people are.
That's right.
And I think this shows that putting that person in the position is gonna, hopefully this will become a revenue neutral position.
Right.
That hopefully is the goal, because we want building going on and renovations
Exactly.
going on.
Yeah.
So hopefully that is the case.
And we are planning on keeping that position in the budget for 2020
As a part-time or?
As a
full-time?
part-time.
Okay.
as part-time.
Great.
I think we have enough hours up there now.
Mhm.
People have gotten used to the schedule and
Yes,
we're meeting the need.
Okay.
very few complaints.
And the only other comment I had on this was, it's one that happens every year. Insurance, we're at 92 spent, and it's just because of the
It's
timing of the bills.
scheduling timing.
So we're only anticipating on 8%.
That's correct. In fact, I think we're with the premium holiday that we received, I think this is all we're gonna spend.
Well, I would
To
be
get
there.
it to us as a credit.
Great.
We'll find out.
Margaret, any questions on finances? How about you, Rich? I'm good. Okey doke, let's move on to calendar review. October 9th.
Is your next scheduled meeting?
You here? Yeah. You here? You're not here.
I'm not here.
All right, so Chris, you'll be.
Chris will
here.
be here. Alex Bolenz from the North Country Council is scheduled to be in here. He'll provide you with an update on regional transportation plan for the North Country. And he'll also be looking for feedback from you regarding transportation needs here in the town. So
Okay.
it's an open conversation, and it's something he's doing with every town in the North Country Council.
Okay. Department heads. Chris?
We had our first session of the Public Safety Academy last night. It was well attended. We had over 25 participants in that.
A lot of new people or a lot of repeaters?
Good combination. There's that mountain race is Sunday. They have about 300 people registered. So we're gonna support that. We'll have an extra paramedic on. Coffee with a Cop is October 4th at Jugtown. So hopefully we can get over there and get a good turnout for that. It's National Coffee with a Cop Day, so that's why we chose. It's not a great date to get a good turnout,
What
but
day of the week is it?
it's a Friday, but it's
Friday.
October 4th,
Okay.
so that's gonna be hit or miss, but hopefully it'll be a good turnout. And then, we're just starting to work on budgets and CIP stuff.
What do you have big of the CIP?
Nothing.
Thank you.
However, there's a couple there's a couple of things that we need to talk about as far as upcoming things. We have our life packs are no longer supported. But I think we can get some time out.
Okay. Good, great. Anything for public safety? All right. Good. All right, Brooke.
Well, we have a couple of free Friday fall foliage hikes coming up, so we're trying to do those every Friday through the season. We have an outdoor skills workshop tonight, and then also select Wednesdays probably throughout the year. Tonight's navigation is just a free kind of workshop from 5:30 to 7 at the rec. So we're going to try to keep that going just for people's interest here. Sunday hike to Morgan and Percival, or the sisters, not sure which yet. We started our 10 weeks of Tai Chi last week, a 10-week session.
How many people do you have for that?
Total we have, I think, 5 in one class and 4 in the other class. There's 2 classes that run back to back. Many of the people are signed up for both, but then some are only for the beginner one. So we have, and there's like a core of people that are loving it. They just keep bringing it back to me, like, can we do it again? Can we do it again? So we have 2 fires this week and plenty of wood. Thank you, Jim. And plenty of wood.
Oh, plenty of wood. I just said funny wood.
And then exciting news is we did get word that our article about the The WB Redliner patch will be in a November, December issue of Backpacker magazine on page 29. So that's like super exciting. That's all I've got. The rest of this
What
is,
about finding a part-timer?
I have an interview tomorrow
Okay.
with somebody who looks promising.
And you're working on your comparisons. Have we set a deadline to come up with a plan to allow the parents of the after-school program to make other plans if they need to, or to adjust their budgets or anything else?
Well, it'll be submitted with the budget. We're gonna carry it through the holidays.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that we can't say the last week of December
Yeah.
that there's no program or the
Right.
program is doubling in January.
Right,
So I think we need to set a date where we can come up with some information.
okay,
First meeting in November, so,
Does that work for
Yeah.
everybody?
Yeah.
Can you-
okay. So just to, because I'm pretty sure the people that are signed up now will be signed up again in January. So that leaves us with three part-timers and three full-timers and one part-timer. If that meets the needs, then we don't need to look at this again until next year.
But we were talking about maybe raising the rates
Yeah.
on this to make it less of a
Yeah.
cost.
I did look at the rates and I will provide that information if you want to have that be the
I think
date.
You should provide recommendations to us as to
Right,
what we
okay.
should do.
Okay,
Just so.
put it on the agenda for November so we can let them know too.
Yep. all right, that's great. And so that you can, when is the next selectmen meeting? Is it in 2 weeks?
No,
The 9th, but you're paying attention to our calendar?
Sorry.
no, but we're saying,
I'm here to-
wait until the first meeting of November.
Right, but we probably want to get this information in front of
Right.
the selectmen before they
Oh,
have to
yeah,
get it in
yeah.
front of.
Yeah.
So I'll just be prepared with that next.
If you
selectmen
could, if you could, make your recommendations, because we need to start thinking about this. I guess from the Saturday meeting, it was a real hot button.
It was one of the issues
Yeah,
that was
because it's a
raised,
very
but-
local group that.
Definitely. I
Talk
mean,
about preschool and after school.
So presentation of information on October 9th and then a decision the first
for the
meeting
parents,
in November.
no problem.
Anything else?
And that's all, just same stuff, just trying to get the budget together.
Okay. Anything for Brooke?
No.
Okay, Jim.
Just trying to ease on into the fall and into winter, so we're just trying to prepare for that. You may see a lot of digging going along Packards, along the side and down Snows Brook and over on Village. That is the phone company Consolidated trying to get conduit in
For who?
for them.
Do they service us?
Consolidate.
Yeah,
Do they
Consolidated.
own the trunk that Spectrum comes in on? Or, Because I've
I'm
never
not
seen-
quite sure what the arrangement is.
because I've never seen Consolidated as a vendor or someone.
Well, it used to be
It
Fairpoint.
used
It used to be
Oh, so
They
Fairpoint.
have the building across from the school.
And God knows how far back they were AT&T at some point in time, I guess, so.
Okay, now that makes sense now.
So, just in case you see that,
They're not putting in any new lines right
Yeah.
now,
right now,
just
it's just
Actually, in front of the Silver Fox in that corner there was kind of blocked off today where.
Yeah, that's where they were working.
Yeah, but they could have actually had someone who was actually stopping traffic instead of looking up.
I told him to contact, he's got my phone number, he talks to me usually on a daily basis, and I told him to call us.
There was no traffic, but it still
There's no
was.
traffic. But, and they are gonna, instead of making road crossings per se, cutting the pavement, they are gonna do directional boring, provided that, so far DigSafe has been less than 100%.
So what did we hit?
Um,
I'm just taking that as an opening.
Yeah.
Nothing major as far as been reported. They hit and repaired one of our telephone, one of our light pole feeds. So it's been repaired to my satisfaction. But, which was unmarked, by the way. Wasn't their fault. So if you see some equipment around, that's what it is. Other than that, I've got well number 3 in library,
And we have
upcoming,
demolition debris dumpster.
and the dumpsters.
Yeah, let's talk about the dumpsters. Where's our camera?
The cameras? We
We've got the cameras, right?
We have
Still have the cameras.
We went back.
Where's Dave?
I'm learning enough money going with everybody else.
No. We have all the equipment except one, the critical piece of equipment, which is the Wi-Fi extender. We are still waiting for it. And we've been told it will be here.
October 4th, they're gonna do it.
Why? You can go get one on Amazon.
Well,
Yeah, because we're
Well-
getting one for our office.
It's the,
It's
well,
a-
it's the install of
It's-
it and it's through the IT.
and it is a different extender than the one that you use at home. But they
Depends
are,
on your house.
well, that's true.
This isn't the category, it's the government, so it costs more and takes longer.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to fight against.
Well,
I'm trying to go,
You're trying to
If
fight yourself.
if I can go one in my house, if I can get a signal from my porch in the back of the house, you guys can get. No problem.
So by the next meeting, you'll be telling us that it's working.
We're gonna be watching it.
We're gonna be, we will have
All the
something.
bugs will
We
be,
will have something, Chris will have an iPad or something here,
right.
and you can look at all the.
And we're not gonna fall for a videotape of previous people.
No, I know. No, it will not be a loop.
That's
No.
what-
It's Nate Rifkin.
It will-
Yeah.
That looks like a game camera.
I'm gonna stop talking now because I can get into.
Is that, at the same time, putting up the signs, letting people know that, and all of that?
Who do we use for a sign vendor?
Usually JW.
Yeah, okay, yes, I've had some really good luck with her.
Yeah, she's good.
As far as competitive prices.
Oh, definitely.
Really quick.
Yeah.
All right.
She's redoing all of our fall foliage signs right now.
Okay.
Adding-
So Jim, what about the demolition dumpster?
Well, the demolition dumpster is like this. The surcharge or the pull charge is $476.
Okay, define surcharge, pull charge.
That is what they charge you to show up with another roll-off and swap them out.
Okay, that doesn't include.
That
No,
does not
that's-
include the $68 a ton for the weight. We try to stuff as much in there as we possibly can with the backhoe, and we're pretty successful at it. Occasionally, the dumps, when we call, then I have to call it in. I don't wait until it's totally full. I wait until I'm figuring that we're gonna have, if we got enough room, but if it goes, we got enough tonnage. So I'll call it in, and occasionally they will be 3 days out on the swap instead of the usual 1.5 days. So in other words, if I call it in today, generally speaking, by tomorrow at 4 or 5, it would be swapped out. They have access, they have a key. So that's generally the way it runs. Every once in a while, it doesn't go so good. So what I've told a lot of these contractors is, call me. They all have my number. Or stop by and find out what the status is. Because if you have a trailer load and it's full, you can't dump your trailer.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or if you have a truckload. Now, what we have done in the past is that if you come and ask, we will allow you to neatly pile, depending upon what you have, for if you have say you're doing a bathroom renovation. You can pile that stuff up neatly up top. When that gets swapped out, we will put it in for you, So we try to accommodate as best we can. It's just that every once in a while, somebody gets a little surly and they take right off after they voice their displeasure, and they don't allow you to give them their options. So take your options and go down the road.
Understood.
And so the bottom line is we will work with people if they will talk to
Absolutely.
Jim or the attendant. I just wanted to make it clear to everyone that if they run into this situation, don't just drive away, let's work it out.
Can I make a suggestion? I don't know if we do this. When someone pulls a permit and they have their permit handed to them, that we have a little brochure outlining how we operate and who the phone numbers to call and everything else. So that might help with
Yeah.
somebody understanding and figuring their day as a contractor. that, ooh, I'm gonna have this load, maybe I should call to see if I'm gonna be able to dump this day. Or,
Okay. No, that's a good idea.
Pretty
Contact
hours.
And
numbers.
just so you're
Contact
aware,
numbers.
that was
Hours.
gonna be a discussion,
hours, phone
upcoming
numbers,
because
procedures.
it's going to be one of the guidelines from DES that you have to track building permits as they're dumping into a municipal dumpster. So, yeah, and it's gonna be the contractor certifying to the town through the permit that there is no asbestos or hazardous
So
waste.
it means eventually we're gonna have to hire a full-time person to stand by the dumpster and inventory
Yeah.
whatever goes in and who put it in.
Yes, it's coming,
Yes,
if it's not already here.
great. All right, well, no, I think we've got some good topics already. All right, anything else on the dumpster, folks? All right, what do you want to go to, the well?
Sure.
Yeah.
Out of the well.
You may
I met-
not want and two.
On Tuesday, I met with Emery and Garrett and the fence company. We laid out the fence, and they are going to be in the week after next, to install the fence. So we will have
One
the
that was
fence.
gonna be in on October 1st.
It was the first week in October,
Yeah.
they told me the first time. So,
Well, that's pretty close.
that's
That's
pretty
within a couple
close.
of days.
It's closer than the plow
It
truck.
would be in August.
Is this fence going to be conducive to the natural environment, or is this just going to be a chain link fence?
Chain link.
Okay,
Actually, I don't think it should be conducive to the natural environment. I think there should be something there that says to people, this
Yeah.
is not where you wanna be.
okay.
Raise the
Yeah.
water
I
on
think the
top.
basic thought of a fence and having to jump over it means.
Guard dogs. Just like he's German.
Yeah. All right, and how about the tree cutting is completed?
It is. Did anybody notice?
No, I've got to go
You
over
did.
there.
You did?
Yeah, I went by, no, it only looked like there were 2 or 3 maybe?
Five.
5?
I wish
Are
I'd
they
known
some
it
in
was
the back
there, I
or
would've
something?
Trying to get them over to my house.
Yeah. Yeah, there were a couple trees I thought more trees they could have taken.
I did too, and that was my recommendation, but I got shot down, so it's okay.
We got the ones that were the most problematic.
Right.
Everyone
From a
could
safety
read those.
standpoint.
Right.
Yes.
So,
That's my.
okay,
Is there anything else on well number 3? other
we
than
are,
that?
we are continuing, the engineers are working on the options for the crossing, the bridge crossing.
Mhm.
We had a conversation with them last week,
Yes.
and Jim and I did, and we brought up some concern that we have for redundancy and being able to get all the water that we're treating in the new treatment building across the river in a emergency situation. So say we have a big flood and it washes out the bridge. The second crossing is right there at the bridge.
It's that concrete
It's a concrete trough
trough in the
that goes
river.
across, right?
Right.
So those are very close together. So if you have a catastrophic event on the bridge, you could potentially take
Take
both
out
of them out. And so after spending potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars, we could be stuck with no way to get it to the east side of the river. So they're gonna go back, they're working on how to address that concern, and to make some recommendations to us. Their plan is to come in to the October 23rd meeting and do a presentation to you before we get too far into the design phase. Because there's no need of designing something that's just gonna potentially get wiped out. So they're doing a risk analysis.
A risk analysis, which will include the possibility of not abandoning
Well 3.
well
crossing.
3's transmission line and crossing and using that as a redundancy, but that, in order to use that, we'd have to connect well 3 to
Right.
the treatment building.
Because you've got to, remember, we pressure tested that line
Mhm.
to make sure that it wasn't leaking, and and it held, it was a good pressure test,
Good pressure.
which means that pipe is still good. So that's just one of the things that they're looking at, but we didn't want to get something designed and present something to town meeting, and then have somebody go, well, did you think about this? Not have the answer to it. So,
I didn't understand when we were talking about it going across the river, why it was going to be so expensive when we already had a conduit there.
because they're talking about hanging a new line on the bridge, because that conduit,
It's falling
that
apart.
is,
Mhm.
well, the
The
concrete
concrete.
is, right?
No,
It's
no, I
aging,
meant,
right.
we already have things going across in what do we have going across?
Oh, we just have an
underneath?
electrical conduit and the
Okay.
sewer line.
On
So
the
this
bridge.
is something else that we would be hanging on the bridge.
Right,
And they've got to dig all the way from the new transmission building and connect all the way back there
oh,
to this,
okay.
right?
I got
mean, or, you know,
So it's
So-
not possible to tap into the existing line and,
they may as part of this. but again,
That's a
we've gotta-
possibility.
Right, but
Yeah.
we don't know the longevity of the existing line.
That's right, and so those are the sorts of things that they're gonna give us these recommendations on before they start doing the design work. Because they were getting ready to
They were-
actually do design work
Right.
to give us a budget.
Right, and then
So-
they found.
And then,
that-
we started having these conversations and it didn't make any sense for them to not do this risk analysis.
Right,
So-
Mark and I started brainstorming about it, and then, and just, I'm going like, wait a second, What if we spend all this money and Irene 2
Takes the
happens,
Takes the bridge
and
out and that takes out.
and we have no water?
Other line, we have
You
no
know?
water.
So-
So, October 23rd, they'll have the recommendations and they'll come in and do a presentation to you. So and then you have the whole erosion problem with the West Branch that's eroding the peninsula
Mhm.
where well 3 is. And there is some concern that in these high water events that we're having more and more of, that
Peninsula will be
it's
underwater.
actually gonna become an island where
Mhm.
well 3 is. And then if you put the transmission line from well 3 back to the
Mhm.
treatment building, now you've got an exposed pipe. So how do you deal with that? So there's a lot of ifs that they need to,
That's why we have to do a risk analysis.
And the other thing that I don't know if you're aware of, to get these wells, what was it, 190 holes were dug to get?
about 140
140.
40
So
holes.
it's not like we picked this thing out of,
Yeah.
well, this would be a nice place for.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got to try to keep the 3 wells that we
Yeah.
have.
There
They
aren't a lot of
are literally
options
the
out there.
only
is-
places we need
Right.
water. So, but, not having anything on the east side of town is a real detriment. I mean, because anything can happen along the river. So, we just gotta make sure we cover all our bases. So they got about another month in the week.
Okay. Anything else on Zoom, please?
So we have all the department heads. The only other item I had, Mike, was that new business item for guidance, just general, not asking for specifics unless you have something that you really want us to take a look at, but we are starting to look at the CIP. And this is the CIP that was approved last year. And all the department heads have it and are looking at it. And so this and operational budgets, before they get into doing a whole lot, I just would like to have, are there any things you want us to use as a guidance, going forward?
I think the million, I don't know if that 250 is a reasonable number or not.
Well, and I think a lot of it has to do with the conversation that happens tomorrow. You know, where that plan fall, you know, where that project falls in the plan. And I agree with you, Mike. I don't know if that's reasonable. I don't know what we're building. Are we building
Right.
a building, or are we building a covered concrete pad that has some picnic tables on it with some bathrooms attached, or what are we?
I think
What do we
something
do?
like that is very viable. I don't think in the winter we're gonna be able to maintain it
Right,
or operate it.
right,
You know, even though it'd be a nice thing to have on the cross-country trails. But to maintain it and keep it going, because especially I think we're gonna be in a situation where we're gonna need to pump out of there. And,
and it's just like the 150,000 for the second
Right.
phase of the trail construction. After getting the bid on Village,
Mhm.
you know, I don't know if that is realistic either, right? You know, so I think a lot of it will have to do with our conversation.
Yeah. that's something to think about. It's not an outrageous plan by any means.
Okay,
A quick question on,
Yeah.
just on Village. Now that goes from basically the dam to, the bridge
Snowsbrook.
over Snowsbrook,
Snowsbrook, yeah.
not Village, all the way past that
No,
to the,
not down to the bridge
To-
crossing across the stream.
right, that's.
Doesn't go down to the river.
Okay. So we have that. Anything else? Board concerns or directives? Anything?
Anything that I have the pedestrianization plan, and I have the plan that we used for the Village Trail bid process for tomorrow. Is there any other specific information that you want to have available for that discussion?
I think that discussion tomorrow should be led by them with what they're intending to
Okay.
do and how they're gonna benefit us
Okay,
as a town as opposed to what our plan is. I think we need to see really what their plan is, what their commitment is, and get it from someone who can actually make the commitment.
right,
As opposed to where we've wound up in the past.
Yeah.
And then take it from there,
okay,
because, you know, until we know their level of commitment, we really have to gauge what our level of commitment is going to be.
sure, okay.
Yeah.
And Margaret, you're not gonna be able to be
No,
there.
because I have a conflict,
Okay,
another meeting
so,
at that
but we
time.
did post it because the two of you will be here, so.
Yeah.
We posted it as a workshop. Okay,
Any correspondence? I didn't see.
no, I did not have any for you
I
at
had,
this time.
I had one tiny bit of correspondence that came in the form of a small note. I'll bring it to the next meeting, but it was basically someone suggesting that when we display our flags, we gotta make sure they were in good condition.
Yes,
This person thought it was a bit of overkill to have them up for the entire season, that maybe they ought to be up just for the 4th of July and for Memorial Day, and other times the Waterville Valley flag ought to be displayed.
Is there a Waterville Valley
As
flag?
far as I know, there is not.
there is a white flag with a bug
The
that we could have made. That has been the
And
Waterville
when I
Valley
was
flag.
76 of those around town and not up Garrett?
Well, no, I'm just, you asked if there was a Waterville Valley flag.
Yeah.
Technically, there is.
Yeah.
But it would be garish.
Mhm.
And we have tried, we've tried kind of the seasonal flags before, and people didn't like those. And in fact, people told us that instead of the seasonal flags, they'd like to see us just fly American flags.
And we
So that's-
had the opposite.
We had the
They
opposite
should be
thought.
up all
Yeah,
the time.
oh,
Maybe
yeah,
you should
I remember
alter
that.
Yeah,
And
so
we're up in time,
we'll do
right.
whatever you guys want to
I
do.
I
So
think,
just
I
tell
can
us
stick with the American flag.
I'm
You're
fine
okay
with
with it?
Old Glory.
through
Yeah.
the summer.
All right.
You know, there is a town song
Yes,
Bert-
there
Bert-
is.
by Andrew Sullivan of Gilbert and Sullivan.
No.
I gave a copy of it that the Historical Society has to the school for the kids.
Excuse
Yeah.
me, it's been superseded and replaced by Bertie Britton's song.
Oh, well,
What is Bertie's song, which he reveled us with many times at many different events?
you're right, it's such a song.
Don't you remember the song Felice sang at her
Yes,
Yes.
induction to the Hall of Fame? And
Yes.
she also sang it
at the
Yes.
50th,
Yeah.
right?
At the 50th.
Well, I guess it's better than Sullivan's. So he only,
What, now, I know he's a much better writer. He's got more gold records than Bertie.
yeah.
No old little town of Bethlehem now. That was a song.
No.
Mark, I don't see it on the agenda, but did you want to talk about this administrative fee schedule, or is that just for our
Well,
information?
it's more for your information and it kind of goes along with the budget.
Yeah.
Discussion. Do you want to revisit these? Cause it'll be 3 years in January. Yeah, the last time we did it was 125.17. So we have rec fees, we have the administrative fees, we have water and sewer
Well,
fees that we
we're
haven't
talking about
changed.
rec fees, maybe with the, way to subsidize the after-school program. Maybe some other fees that are associated, we'd have to put it all on that. We can say, we can spread that about.
And, yeah, and we haven't addressed water and sewer. The water and sewer revenues that we've had for the long time, it is a deficit position. So
Right, but we've
it's been underwritten by taxes, and if we want to continue to do that, that's fine. But I just need to know if you want to look at that.
Right, remember we looked at a luxury tax, meaning you used up so much
More than
water.
15,000.
Say if someone had a swimming pool or water.
15,000 a quarter, or
Yeah,
something like that, we had that.
Well, if they have outside connections, that may be a fee that you want to consider.
good.
So, do you want to do that as part of the budget process? Because I'll get the information together for you.
Well, let's see what our commercial, we have information now on metered commercial space, right?
We have meters on every building, residential and commercial.
Right, but maybe we could compare what the commercial water cost was 3 years ago versus usage. To see, and I don't know where I'm trying to phrase this properly,
Okay.
is that are the commercial properties paying a fair share proportionate to the residential properties?
Based on the flat
Based on,
use.
on flat use and
Okay.
no use. Now, the other question I would have to Jim, which I'm stifling for a second, is you mentioned the cost of a pull of a commercial dumpster these days.
Mhm.
What was it 3 years ago when we set these fees? I think we should
We'll
have
have to
jump.
look at that.
We'll have to look at it, but
But we should-
I do know the last jump went from like 275 to
Well,
477.
that's double, so we might want to look how we spread that through our tonnage
Exactly.
without completely breaking
No.
our contractors back.
Not to mention the fact that we've gone from $52 a ton or so. up
Right, to 60
68,
something,
68 or
yeah.
whatever. So we'll get you some historical data on costs. All right.
All right. Is there a privilege on the floor number 2? What you get for showing up? We're gonna look at you, you're gonna say something. All right, then I guess, you have a matter for us?
Yes.
Non-public?
Yes.
Well, I thank everyone for being here, and I will make a
Jen,
motion
can you start?
3:42 left. We will go into non-public and discuss a legal issue.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.